Today is Saturday, October 27th, 2018. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for episode 5 of Survivor David vs. Goliath.
Yep, we get those recaps done on Wednesdays right after the episode airs. And then on Saturday, we turn it over to the super fans. It's your turn. You're a part of the Survivor Fans Podcast. We're looking for your perspective on what went down in the episode and any predictions you might be willing to share from your deep well of life knowledge. How many folks did we have contribute this week?
21.
21. Blackjack.
Do you even know how to play blackjack?
Sure. Well, anything you'd like to say before we get started?
Nope.
Let's check in with Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, this is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh, I gotta let out a great big woo! Oh, now sing with me. Na 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 na. Hey, goodbye. One more time, because I love it. Na 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 na. Hey, goodbye. Oh, I love it. That Natalie, the most egotistical person ever. Man, she is so full of herself, it's not even funny. So delusional. She had it coming, and I'm so glad she got blindsided. What goes around comes around, and I love that Nick survived, and even Larissa, but I really love that Mike, even though some might say it might have not been the smartest move, but I gotta say, I gotta give Mike credit for making the big one, kind of like what Alec did last week. And see you later, Natalie. And now what is she going to do with that coat there? She should burn it. Burn, baby, burn. Oh, man. What an episode, though. And I kind of feel for Angelina. I think she thought she had things going, and then as it turns out, she was the only other one who voted for Larissa. Now, similar to Cara, she's kind of on the outs a little bit with that team, too. We'll see if she bounces back, too. And then how about Dan finding another idol there? Are you kidding me? Why isn't anyone else looking for an idol, you know? But hey, kudos to him, and they made it interesting by hiding it during a challenge. So he had to pull a Kelly Wentworth there, and sure enough, he found it. We'll see if he plays him the right way or not. I'm hoping he gets James idled out, but we'll see what happens. So good on him, though. And how about that Cyclone, Joanne and Stacy? So for the second time, the castaways had to get evacuated. If you remember, the last time was, I think, on day 1 or 2 in the Millennials Gen X season, and now it happens in David versus Goliath, and with 3 tribes, too. Man, that weather is nasty, but I'm glad everyone is all right, and I'm really loving this season, and I'm so glad Natalie went home. Now we can really get into Survivor now. We'll see, guys. What do you think of Mike's move now? Is this going to help him, or is he going to be in the same position as Alec, where he won't be trusted? But I think Mike has something good with Nick, it seems, too. So we'll see what happens down the road, guys. Great episode. Loving this season. I'm curious what else had to say. Take care. Whoa.
Thanks, Pete. Pete tickled himself there at the end. So let's back up for a second. It turns out Angelina was in on the whole thing. That was just her ploy to get Natalie's jacket, throwing the vote towards Lyrsa. So I think in that respect, to answer your question, Mike's a little better off because Angelina actually is with him in that regard. The other thing going in Mike's favor is he seems to have built a better connection to Lyrsa and Nick. Well, certainly to Nick, but it seems like he's got a connection to Lyrsa too.
Well, I think,
given the next time on Survivor,
I think where Angelina kind of blew it a little bit is like, I want to give you a hug. I'm so sorry, girl. And Natalie's like, well, did you, not knowing, did you vote for me? Are you apologizing for voting to me or for me? So she really didn't know, she said, which one of them turned on her.
Although it doesn't matter from Natalie's perspective, I think more to your point, is Nick left with the impression that Angelina wasn't with them because he kind of taunted her with what he said in a way. Was it worth $1 million?
Well, and I kind of think that Lyrsa felt the same way because she reacted to the second vote that she might have thought she was going to vote with them. So I don't think any of the three will trust her.
They're solid. And next time on Survivor seems to intimate that too, where you see Mike talking to Lyrsa and Nick and saying, oh, Angelina will cut you. We're going to have to get rid of her. So while she was in on it, and there's a great extra video on that, and KimJ, who's coming up in just a couple, is going to talk a little more about the extra videos too. Yeah, it was really a ploy to get that jacket, and I'm throwing a little bonus audio at the end there on the outro for you in regards to Angelina's play.
I think, I don't know if Angelina knows that, but they all saw that.
Excellent. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got an email from Mike in New York. Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. First off, I want to say I'm sorry to hear about your friend Joanne, and I hope she's in good spirits, and I offer my best wishes.
Thank you.
Stacy, good job manning the helm all by yourself this week, recapping this new episode. Thanks, sir. I'm a college student who watches Survivor on CBS All Access live option. I skipped the dining hall to eat out with friends, and the restaurant was showing Survivor. But they changed the channel after the reward challenge. Oh, man. Thank goodness for All Access. I got my weekly dosage of Survivor. Coming back from Tribal, I thought Kara's temperament was admirable, and it looked like she was in a good spot until we heard that confessional from Elizabeth. Despite their early bonding over horses, it looks like Elizabeth can't wait to cut Kara loose and move forward with Alec. Good thing they weren't sent to Tribal this week. I loved how Natalie was accepting the weather, saying, "This is living," until it started really coming down, and then she calmly says, "I think it's time to go." Everyone was evacuated, just like in Millennials versus Gen X. Thank goodness they were evacuated, since we saw everything was destroyed at all three camps. Actually, that's not true, Mike. The shelter at Vuku was fine, the one that Pat and Carl built, and Carl talks about that in an extra video this week. I can only imagine how demoralizing it'd be to see that and have to clear out the whole area just to build camp over again. Yeah, I think I talked about it a little bit in the recap too, the place where that was probably hardest was at Tiva for Dan and John, because that would have been about the fifth shelter they had built, having to rebuild them several times when they were at the Goliath tribe. One thing I noticed before the reward challenge that could be significant was when everyone was surprised Natalia was voted off, and Kara looked frustrated at all the old Goliaths and almost with a face of, "Yup, wasn't me though," to show everyone that she wasn't the one who flipped. Yeah, she seemed to communicate that well, and there's an extra video where he talks about how they responded to him. Because I always wondered what goes through people's minds when they win a food reward. It was interesting to see how they decided what to do with the eggs and when to do it. I didn't think it could ever cause a rift in a tribe as much as it did. The BroChachos are my favorite alliance in the game, and my favorite alliance name ever, mainly because it just kind of happened like a nickname. You can't come up with your own nickname, like you can't just make up an alliance name for the heck of it. BroChachos sounded genuine and on the spot. One of those BroChachos, Dan, is really stepping up his game, and I love to see it. Props to him for actually going out and looking for something, knowing there had to be something at the new camp, like an idol or advantage. I'm surprised no one did that last episode, or at least they weren't shown. That's the catch. They don't show. In all the interviews we've ever done, and everybody that we talk to, they've always said, "Hey, heck yeah, I was looking for idols the whole time." It's just when you don't find anything that they don't. There's
Yeah, it'd be pretty boring if they just showed people looking all the time.
although it would actually be some confirmation
yeah,
if they could throw it in, but with that tight budget.
give a little bit.
Yeah.
but there's just too much.
In any case, yeah. I also love how the idol was hidden in plain sight, like in Survivor Second Chances. It always adds an element of stress. Hopefully, Kara's voted out for his sake so he can play his own game. Now he's got 2 idols, and who knows what damage he can do. I got to tell you, Mike, I'm with Pete. I'm totally hoping he gets double idoled out like
Don't even
James.
pretend you're just open. You have been giggling almost just every time you think about, Dan going home with 2 idols.
That's it.
And then you're looking at me and, sorry. I'm
Sorry,
like,
hon.
I'm really not that invested, but you're enjoying this a little much.
Okay, back to Mike.
You're cracking
I thought
yourself up.
the whole jacket conversation was filler and kind of pointless, but it also delivered the best comedic scene of the episode with Angelina pleading for Natalie's jacket on her way out. Did Angelina only hug her to get her jacket? You bet. She explains that. Natalie's stone cold shun was even great, and I loved her voting confessional towards Lyrsa. While I'm glad she's gone, I wish we could have gotten more of that from her. Davy's confessionals are making him a personal favorite of mine. I'm intrigued by the scenes for next week, specifically the one between Allison and Gabby that might put Christian in a tough spot as a potential swing vote. Hope everyone has a great week, and once again, thank you, Joanna Stacy, for all you do and for bringing us all together to share our thoughts. Thank you, Mike. Good job. Next up, we got a call from KimJ.
Hey, Joanna Stacy, this is KimJ from Nashville. First off, I wanted to say that, Joanna, I'm really sorry for what you're going through with your friend, and my thoughts and prayers go out to her family. I really enjoyed the episode this week. Again, I was expecting Lyrsa to go home. I had her going in JSFL. Then, of course, I changed my mind and decided that Nuku was going to throw the challenge. Either Alec or Kara were going to go home first, and that's how they ended up with the whole TMZ thing. And I was obviously completely wrong on that. But on the bright side, I did finally get a safe point off of Lyrsa.
Yeah.
But I didn't see Natalie going home after that second vote for Lyrsa came up. So when that third vote came up for Natalie, my mouth just dropped open. And the whole exit with Angelina asking for the jacket was just hilarious. These exits, I tell you, the last couple of weeks have just been really, really funny. And I'm really enjoying the season. And Dan's stock went up big time this week with 2 idols. Good for him. So he is the 7th person to have 2 idols at the same time on Survivor. So do you guys know who the other 6 are?
Nope.
That would be
James.
Malcolm,
Parvati.
Ty, Jeremy, Tony, Poverty, and of course, famously, James. So the secret scenes this week were really good. So I encourage people to go and look at those. If you don't have CBS All Access, you can look at Outwit, Outplay, Outlast on YouTube, and they post all the secret scenes. And John Hennigan had a really good secret scene where he talked about how he's bonding with Gabby and Christian, which we've seen him with Christian, but we've not seen that with Gabby. So I found that very interesting. And then also Allison had a good secret scene this week where she talked about how she is going to play like a second-time player and that she really respected the move to get rid of Natalia, which was very interesting. So I'm looking forward to next week and seeing what that entails. I'm sure that they'll merge after that. I'm expecting a good post-merge game, and this season is really reminding me of Millennials versus Gen X. It's such a great cast and people who really came to play the game, and it's just been really exciting. So I can't wait to hear what everybody else has to say. Thanks, Joanna Stacy, for all you do.
Thank you, KimJ. Yeah, Allison didn't have anything very flattering to say about Natalia. She could totally understand how she might end up exiting the game.
Well, I really think John is playing a way better game than they've even shown us yet.
Yeah, it worries me that you don't get to see it.
I know, but I just had the feeling they're saving it for later.
Well, the big test comes at the merge, assuming he can make it to the merge, and then
Well, you
because
think
that's
they'd
the
all
target.
go after him at the merge.
Exactly. So he probably knows that's coming. But man, is he's everything that I was hoping that he would be when I guessed at the beginning of the season that he might be able to win. But you only get it in the extra videos. You got some this week in this episode where he just stepped aside. Dan kept shooting the slingshot over and over and over. But when it came to the puzzle and Christian wanted to try, John didn't hesitate, stepped right to the side and let Christian take over. And it worked out great. Christian came from behind and and helped them cinch it so they didn't have to go to tribal council. So.
Way more impressed with Christian than I thought I would be. And even his over-dramatization after the challenge.
Yeah, there was a... Gabby posted, I think it was on her Instagram, so it was one of her reaction shots that they used. She said, yeah, you wouldn't guess that I was a drama kid, right? But I kind of think Christian might have been too.
Oh, topped that.
Given how he mugs so hard. And
that was so funny. We had to run it back.
Yeah, we watched that 3 or 4 times, didn't we? On
this morning.
Second, third watching of the episode. Yeah. KimJ, thank you for including the pictures of little Parvati, your daughter, there in her David's buff. We love that. She is
so
adorable.
Cute.
Yeah. And so I like too, she gave us 2 shots. She gave us the one where she was smiling. She gave another where she was like, it looked like Parvati was kind of telling her, I've had about enough of this. So we got some good attitude too. We got a happy smile and okay, we're done with whatever was going on. Good stuff. Thanks, KimJ. Next up, we got a call from Shay.
Hi, guys. This is Shay. First, I want to say that I really hope Joanne's friend is okay and that Joanne is okay as well. I know I'm one of those people that always go over time. So today, I'm just going to read my notes exactly as they are. I'm not going to elaborate or anything like that. And I'll read them in the order in which I wrote them. Not only did we see the true intensity of weather, we also saw the true colors of people. Elizabeth is smart and playing the game. Though her and Kara have lots in common, she knows for her game, Kara's got to go. Angelina showed a major display of privilege, like, I want that, is all it usually takes. And then to have the balls to have other people do the dirty work. Natalie's so ready to do her bidding shocked me a bit and showed secretly how desperate she must have felt. Nick, who I thought in the beginning would be a slime ball, could not be bought or bullied. Way to go, Nick. Little Lursa isn't scared of anybody. Love that she speaks her mind. And again, I really like Mike. He's kind, fair, and ready to play the game. Was proud of John for stepping aside for Christian to take over the challenge instead of being prideful, and really proud of Christian for rocking that challenge. Tribal Council was a hoot. So far, each one of them has had me in belly laughter. Okay, that's it. I think that's even under 2 minutes. Yes, it is. Can't wait to hear what everybody else has to say. Have a good day. Talk to you next week.
I got you at 1:23 there, Shay. So you got some breathing room if you want to elaborate a little. You swung the pendulum the other way, but that was great. Thank you. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Ian in Woodland Hills, California.
Greetings to my favorite podcast hosts and fellow fans.
All right, thank you.
It feels so good to be wrong. Even though I had Lyrsa going home, I feel ecstatic that we no longer have to deal with Natalie. As polarizing as Natalie is, I truly enjoy watching real players. I do not enjoy watching mean people who rely on random tribal alliance. I also don't believe in self-professed goats being dragged further in the game. Natalie was really an unapologetic bully. I sincerely hope this was a strategy and not who she is in real life. While I don't disagree with her not giving Angelina her jacket, she could have completely changed people's perception of her by showing some compassion. I also think Angelina was completely disingenuous in her hug, but it was a nice try. Someone mentioned something really interesting last week about keeping tribes strong. While it's highly unlikely, it would be crazy if tribes intentionally lost immunity challenges just to ensure Goliaths or Davids had the numbers after the merge. For example, now that Davids are the majority in the Vuku tribe, they could throw challenges in order to vote out more Goliaths. Yep. It's a risky strategy, but if you feel like an initial tribal alliance is strong, it would be foolish to go into the merge without the numbers. That being said, Goliath is obviously not strong based on the last 2 weeks. What did you guys think about the scene with Dan looking for the idol and the quick shot of Christian in the background? This, along with Next Time on Survivor, lead me to believe that Dan has a target on his back. I still think Jabini is the weakest tribe, and next week, Angelina is going to finally find some warmth.
There's a prediction.
Player of the week goes to Dan. I think now that Kara is not there to distract him, Dan is starting to look like the stud Joanne hoped he could be, and he now has 2 idols. Time to go get me some KBC. It's finger licking good.
All right, Ian. You like that Davy coin term,
Should
huh?
be FBC, Fiji boiled chicken. All right, thanks, Ian. Next up, we have a voice clip from Nicola-n-Jackson.
Hello, this is Nicola and
Jackson, we know why. Who got out?
Natalie.
Natalie, because 2 versus Natalie. Tribal canceled. Was cool. It was cool. Once team won, but I don't really get it. So.
What did you like about this week's episode, though? There was two challenges, so that was fun.
Yep, and now we get to eat cupcakes.
Still no cupcakes. What
Still no
happened in the first
cupcakes.
challenge that you got really excited about? What did they win?
Chickens, eggs. That was
And who else has a chicken?
Pat and Laura.
Pat and Laura, and you keep your chicken there, don't you?
Yeah,
What's your chicken's name?
Annette.
Owlette.
And I have vampire teeth. Do you want to see?
They can't see. He got some vampire teeth at the school festival this evening.
All right.
So we watched the episode on Fast Speed tonight. So we watched the challenges and then we watched the vote out. We enjoyed it. I watched it on Wednesday night with Eliza. She came over. That was fun. We were both glad to see the back of Natalie. She's been fun to watch, and I'm sure she's probably not like this all the time, but the edit was getting a little tedious. It was just the same old thing every week. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next. Kind of, I don't say upset, but it'll be interesting to see what Dan manages to do with his 2 idols, and if he'll be able to actually keep it a secret that he has the second one, especially if he gets back together with Cara.
And now it's bedtime for me.
It is bedtime for you, so we're going to Holiday World tomorrow.
Holiday World. And we're going to Monkey Joe's, Chuck
No.
E. Cheese,
No.
Daddy Town.
No,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
we're going to meet some family in Holiday World about 2 hours away tomorrow, so
Who
we're going to go to
family?
bed so you can get some sleep. Say goodbye to everybody.
Bye.
It's rather loud. Okay, bye guys.
Why
We'll
did-
talk to you next week. Have a good weekend. Cheers.
All right. Thanks, Nicola. Thanks, Jackson. I really like your vampire teeth. Nicola included a little extra text. Well, it's hard to get a word in with him going a mile a minute, but I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. This really has been one of the best first 5 episodes in a long time, and I hope CBS takes note that we don't need returning players to get great gameplay. You're going to be really disappointed with next season, Nicola. Once again, my JSFL score is in the sub-basement, but that's okay. Love Nick's quip in the voting booth. You are enough to make a preacher swear. I imagine many of us will use the same line on November 6th. Yes, Jackson does have a chicken who lives at our friend's house, and we get really fresh eggs, which is nice. The chicken's name is Owlette. Nice. Now, when we were rewatching...
With an O, owlet.
Yeah. Instead of omelette, is that what you were pointing out? What?
No.
Oh, I was pretty clear on what it was. When we were rewatching, we thought Nick pronounced preacher, preacher.
Preacher.
Yeah.
I was a preacher.
You are enough to make a
We
preacher
can't-
swear.
We're used to it.
Well, I
so
like
that we-
preacher. I
but
like
it's still
P-R-A-Y.
See, that's the
It even
spelling
makes
we
sense.
gave it because it makes sense. He's a preacher.
You're enough to make a preacher swear.
Okay, we were entertaining ourselves this morning. What could I say?
Yep, good stuff. Thanks, Nicola. Thanks, Jackson. Next up, we got an email from DavidK in the OC. Hi, Joanna and Stacy. This is my second season, along with a buddy participating in JSFL. The wonderful community you've created here and the extra level of excitement it adds to watching Survivor had us recruit 3 more friends to join us this season, and we're all having a blast. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's great to hear. Although I've never before sent in any audience feedback, I did want to throw one thought out there to make sure it doesn't get missed. Just how brilliantly the Survivor producers subtly orchestrated a perfect finale by how they prearranged the reading of the votes at Tribal Council. Angelina has been quoted as saying she knew Natalie was being voted out, yet she did not write down Natalie's name at Tribal Council. The only reason she'd do this would be to curry favor with Natalie, so she'd hopefully give her a jacket on the way out. This is supported by how Angelina earlier tried to deflect criticism of Natalie by confessing that she was the one who really wanted the jacket. Probst, however, did not read Angelina's vote, so Natalie must have figured that... Actually, yeah, Probst read the vote there. So I think he got that a little turned around. But we did get to see him read 2 votes for Lyrsa. So Natalie must have figured Angelina was in on her ouster, thus creating the no jacket for you moment. I think it's more like what Joanne was saying, that Angelina's comment might have just left it too open for Natalie one way or another. Natalie's suspicion is completely understandable, since about the only time Probst fails to read a vote is when they are pile-on votes after a player's been eliminated, but this time he switched it up and left Angelina's vote unread. You have to go back and check that out. Just I'm pretty sure it's there. I have to think this was done in hopes that fireworks would ensue. Yeah, that just took care of itself. It was Natalie. And Natalie definitely did not disappoint. Anyways, thanks so much for the time and passion you and your behind-the-scenes helpers put into this. Well, thank you, David. It's great to have your feedback. You did an excellent job there, and it's great to hear that you and your friends are enjoying playing along in JSFL. Next up, we got a call from Kim and Cameron.
Hey everybody, it's Kim and Cameron from North Carolina sending in our Week 5 feedback.
So first things first, right when Allison was talking about those wins, I thought, what if we see another mass evacuation like we saw on season 33, Millennials versus Gen X? Lo and behold, what happened? They were evacuated. I kind of wish we could see what goes on during the evacuation, but I guess that's where it defeats the purpose of surviving, so I don't blame them.
Definitely glad that they got evacuated after the way their camps looked. I just have a lot of respect for Angelina dealing with Natalie, because she was really a control freak about the chickens, and I have to say she would get on my nerves.
Yeah, I thought it was funny when Angelina, she made sure everyone knew now that she's a vegetarian, and I just thought back to season 2 of Australian Outback with Kimmy Kappenberg just having those freakouts over, no, we can't eat meat, what's wrong with you guys?
This is off this season a little bit, but right before the show, I was looking at the extra videos, and I fell down a rabbit hole of memorable Survivor moment videos, and I couldn't remember even ever seeing some of those people before, even though I've never missed an episode, but I did remember some of the drama, and I recommend everyone to watch it. It was super entertaining.
Well, I, for one, can remember them, but hey, that's just my young mind.
That's right.
I'm just kidding. So the immunity challenge, it seemed pretty straightforward, just basic Survivor challenge. It was kind of stressful, of course, with the ball rolling towards the very end. I like how in recent seasons they incorporate the idol into being hidden into the challenge. Dan was pretty good at getting it. I thought he was very non-discreet, but Kim pointed out to me that at least he did it when no one was paying attention, so good for you, Dan. Now you have 2 idols.
Yeah, Dan was impressive like that, finding that second clue and everything. The only thing I noticed about the challenge was how the heck is Christian holding his body in that position and then being able to control where the ball was going? But he did a great job. When they got ready to try to figure out who's going to go home, I thought, dang, Cameron's going to get another vote-off point this week. And I was going to copy his choices since you did that Natalia thing last week, but I didn't. But I'm glad to see Natalie go. Yeah,
I said Lyrsa would go. And I was close to, but ultimately I'm not that mad to see Natalie go. I think her drama's over. What was wrong with her, though? I mean, I hated how she was just trying to buffalo Nick into getting that jacket. That's wrong, and I'm glad he didn't do it. You remember on Game Changers when Michaela tried to convince Culpepper he was going home if he didn't catch some fish? Well, it seems to me Michaela went home the same way. Next time on Survivor.
Okay, yeah, so it looks to me, I think Gabby could be a loose cannon because she is so up and down like a sine curve with her emotions. So I keep thinking, is she going to flip on Christian? Because she seemed to really kind of play him more than being a partner with him earlier in the season. But I don't know if Allison's going to get to her and talk her into going Allison's way.
Yeah, she's totally crazy. I mean, although I will give it to her, you can tell how down she is because when Christian won, she didn't say congratulations. She said thank you because that meant that she would have one more night there. But, of course, she could go off as a loose cannon next week. But also, I think if Vuku loses, there's a slight chance we'll see Davey go. I mean, it's kind of clear Elizabeth does not really like him. Well, so they showed.
Yeah, but Elizabeth is one to look out for, too, because she seems to be really good at slyly getting people to do what she wants. So the last thing we wanted to say was, Joanne, we're sorry about your friend. We're hoping for the best for all of you. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
Thanks, Kim and Cameron. Good job.
I just wanted to say my friend is hanging on, and she's surrounded by lots of family, so we're doing good. We're all holding up.
Next up, we got a call from Jack.
Hi, all you Survivor fans. This is Jack from California calling in. Before going into this week's, there was something I wanted to talk about from the last one, and that was B quitting. I am not truly surprised that she did quit, just because I think she had a really good reason to do so. It is either try her best at the game or think of her career and what she does on a day-to-day basis, and I think she just made a great choice on that. Going into this week's episode, there were two storms, one literally and one figuratively. I am kind of surprised, based on the shelters, that Vuku's shelter actually looked pretty well after the typhoon hit, and the figurative storm was Typhoon Natalie. Oh, Natalie, after everything that we saw on TV, I'm not surprised at all that she was the one who broke up with out. No, but I do feel like how she left was pretty bitter, not very sportsmanlike at all. Speaking of which, I think the immunity challenge and how they have immunity idols hidden within it, it is very neat how they decide to hide them in the challenges, but trying to get them within that will be a really hard thing to do, but the producers make it seem like it is very easy. I do like the alliance that got formed, the BroChachos, just because I think each John, Christian, and or the third one have different skills that they can contribute to each other, and I think that alliance could go pretty far. Because of that alliance, though, I think Gabby could be in trouble, and I also think, along with Gabby, Angela, Davey, or Dan could be out next. As for the JSFL, right now, I have 22 points. I'm kind of surprised about that, actually. And by looking at the side challenge that's happening, I'm actually doing very well in that. And if I keep this up, you could count me in for next season. So far, this is a great season also. The tribes have specific names. I'm quite interested in knowing what they mean, and I thought other fans would be doing the same. So I couldn't come up with anything for Vuku. But for Tiva, I came up with that it means dance, and Jabini means God built it. I thought those were interesting, and I am looking forward to what all other fans have to say. See you guys next week. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Jack. Next up, we got an email from Christiana in Boston.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. First of all, Joanne, I'm sorry to hear about your friend. I'm sending warm thoughts from the East Coast. Thank you. Now, getting to the episode, it was another great one. I thought it was interesting that Alec thinks he's running his tribe, and the Davids are extra votes when he's in the minority now. Joanne will be happy to hear that Dan is getting a much more favorable edit after the swap, and he seems like a more legit player now. With two idols, I'm wondering if he will now be making it far. Gabby is my USB, so I was worried when Dan shared in his confessional that she was the odd one out and the first to go. And when John dropped the ball in the immunity challenge, I was panicking that the vote would come to fruition. Luckily, Christian put them back in the puzzle and sent Jabini to tribal council. I was really surprised how well Christian did at that maze, because it seemed much more related to strength and coordination than puzzle acumen. I thought the whole jacket controversy was absurd, and if Angelina is friends with Adam Klein, why didn't he advise her to bring a warm layer for sleeping? However, she was smart in the fact that if she was determined to get Lyrsa out and take her jacket, she certainly leveraged Natalie's abrasiveness to make that happen, which ultimately led to Natalie's demise. Angelina is clearly trying to maintain positive relationships with everyone and seemingly stay Goliath strong now that the tribes are tied up, with new Goliaths jumping ship every episode. Nonetheless, I feel bad when Natalie totally ignored Angelina. I felt bad when she totally ignored Angelina's desperate plea as she was exiting tribal. Maybe it's from a viewer's perspective, but it seems so obvious to me that Mike was the third Natalie vote, not Angelina, and she could have thrown her a bone and given her a jacket. But nope, she decided to go out bitter, which just seems pointless, particularly earlier in the game when you have no stake on the jury. I'll end with a highlight and a prediction. First, maybe my favorite part of the episode was when Nick echoed Is that jacket worth $1 million? Slight. It was such a vindicating moment for Davids everywhere who are pushed around, my life and Goliath's alike. And finally, I am excited to see where this Allison-Gabby pairing may go. I had predicted after the first episode that Gabby may team up with some of the Goliath women after the merge, so we'll see how that plays out once all the castaways are united. Looking forward to hearing from the other fans. All right, thank you, Christiana.
You can definitely envision some pretty intense scheming going on there at Tiva, huh? If Allison and Gabby are bonding and the BroChachos are bonding, and then John's got a bond with Christian and Gabby too, but Dan thinks that Gabby's an obvious out. Bingo, bango. Yeah. There he goes, out with 2 idols. Thanks, Christiana.
I'm going to have to live with this until Wednesday for sure.
Until it resolves itself.
I know.
Oh, next up, we got a call from Drew and his crew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew with
Kitty and Boba Fett.
Charlie, Kitty, and Boba Fett, and
Boba
Fett. Adelaide and her belt and her blankie. We have some Halloween stuff here with us and some cozy stuff. Today, in just a few minutes, we're going to go watch Mommy cross the finish line for 4th half marathon this year. So that's exciting. This was a good episode too. I think this is a great season. I think everyone kind of feels that way. There's been a lot of excitement, a lot of drama, and not too much just like really annoying, frustrating things. I mean, there's kind of frustrating personalities, but there's not something that's just making me really not enjoy watching. It's just been really good. I had this perfect plan thought out that Vuku, they were going to lose again, and Alec was going to stick with his new pals, and Kara, yes, I believe it is actually Kara. I heard a lot of people say Kara on the actual episode this week, so I thought that Kara was going to be the odd one out and just head the way of Natalia, and it was looking like it was trending that way, so I was kind of disappointed that they won. Julie was pretty excited because she had Natalie to go, and I did not go so bold as to put Natalie safe this week, so that was fine with me. I kind of didn't expect it. I really thought that it was going to be Larsa in the end. I thought that Natalie was going to scrap along and hang on somehow, but I just don't mind. Now they can actually play and it'll be good. But I will say that it really annoys me when people unnecessarily drop the bullying bomb and call something out as bullying. It's just really popular nowadays to call that out, even if it's inaccurate. It's like a buzzword, and it's really frustrating and annoying. Because there is bullying, and it's a problem, but when you call out bullying where there is no bullying, then it just exacerbates the problem, right? Sorry, Nick. That was more like, extortion. It wasn't really bullying. She wasn't, like, harassing him. She was just trying to make a shady deal. But anyway, boo-hoo. I kind of wish that Lyrsa would get voted out just so they would stop whining. Like, the whining was almost as annoying to me this week as Natalie's shenanigans. So, I did want to say one thing about this BroChachos. Is that what it is? I think there's something really touching to me about that on Christian's behalf. I don't know. You know that feeling when you don't really fit in and then cool guys think you're cool. And so I was just like, that's really sweet. Last week, everyone was kind of talking about Gabby complaining, but you know what? I felt that too. I almost got a little emotional when they won immunity last week because it was such a victory for her. And I know that she's still kind of on the outs, but it kind of warms my heart when she has a little victory with the cool kids. I don't know. I was kind of an outsider in high school too, so I know that feeling when you're surrounded and you don't fit in and you're just so desperate. Of course, the stakes have never been so high for me, so that's a relief. But anyway, I'm just going to call it now. The winner of the week, I'm going to say I'm going to give it to Christian because he is fitting in really well for someone who's so awkward. And the loser of the week, I'm going to give to Natalie because, come on, give Angelina your jacket. She was the only person in there that was standing up for you. I hope she feels really bad this week after this episode, but doubtful. I think next to go either Kara again, unfortunately maybe Gabby. If they lose, I can't see. I guess they could get rid of Allison. She has less of a story, but she's my USB, so I don't want that. Who do you think is going next, Charlie? Angelina? It's not terribly unlikely. Who do you think is going home next, sweetie? Mike? Well, you never know. I guess they think Jabeni is going to be going to tribal council, so I wouldn't mind if Nick went. His smug grinning after Natalie left was just annoying to me. So, all right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
And happy Halloween. Woo! P.S. Sorry to hear about your friend Joanne. Look forward to hearing your voice again.
Thanks, Drew.
Good job. Next up, we got a call from Brandon from Cleveland, even though he forgot to announce his name. He's so excited with the results.
Oh, snap. Jeremy, Natalia, and Natalie at Ponderosa, get your popcorn ready. I would love to be a fly on the wall over there. Man, that has to be some entertaining stuff. You know, I'm sure Pat, Jessica, B must have some prime entertainment while they witnessing all of that. So I hope they keep it too civil. You know, you never really get real ugly, but I think that would be very entertaining personally. But another fantastic episode of Survivor. Man, this season just keeps pushing, man. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next week between Davey and Elizabeth based on the previews. Those are two players I both really like, but I'm kind of rooting for Davey. So, I mean, it is what it is. I hope it's kind of a red herring because I do want to see what the Elizabeth and Lyrsa tandem would do going forward. I'm anxious to see what the rock stars are going to do, too. And, again, I hope Alec may be able to be kept in the game as well. So if Kara has to leave, Kara has to leave. Either way, it's just such a good TV show. I guess I don't even know what else to say. The thing I'm most excited about is Natalie being gone. And as entertaining as she was, I think it's a good pick-me-up for Pat to watch all that entertainment in Ponderosa. Anyway, I guess I'll talk to y'all guys next week. Peace. Oh, yeah. And it was riveting television to see Hot Cop get that next idol at the challenge. And by the previews, it's looking like my USB Allison might get ready to start doing some stuff now. So I'm on the lookout for that, too. All right, now I'm done. Peace out.
Thanks, Brandon. That is going to be interesting to see how Tiva and Vuku pan out. Yeah. I thought it might be a ruse between that Elizabeth and Davey had cooked up. But then when you see Elizabeth talking about how she so much dislikes stupid people, I thought, oh, well, who is she really arguing with? Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, she could just as easily think Alec was stupid too, so, and that it was really a ruse that they had cooked up to fool Alec. But
you could tell the look on her face. She was very serious about
I can't get over the fact that to me she looks like a mad toddler. She just... She didn't have a baby face.
She have a baby face?
No, I'm not saying she has a baby face. She's got a toddler face, and she looks like an angry toddler. And she tends to put her sentences together in a similar way. I don't know.
Because you've been around so many angry toddlers.
I've seen them on TV.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for your support.
I'm supporting.
Right. Good job, Brandon. Next up, we got an email from LeAnn in California. Hello, Survivor fans. Another great episode. It's almost too good to be true that the Davids are coming from behind to save my USB Gabby from herself. And great drama weather. Does anyone else wonder what happens when the contestants are evacuated for 2 days? What are they given to eat? Do they get to shower? Do they separate them as individuals or teams? I assume they aren't allowed to talk to each other. What do you think? Thanks, LeAnn. Well, it turns out Probst has answered this question, and I went back and checked. He answered it for Millennials versus Gen X, and then he answered it again. Dalton Ross is always really good to check in with him in his weekly Q&A on this. So they get evacuated. In both cases now, they've been evacuated to base camp. And they board up all the buildings and stuff there at base camp. And, yeah, they do separate them, and they tell them that they can't talk. So, basically, it's just like when they're moving in between locations, like before and after an immunity or a reward challenge.
But they isolate them as tribes, right?
They isolate them as tribes, and they tell them they can't talk. So it's like hitting the pause button for the game is really what they're going for. And they're given essentially the same meager rations that they have available to them at their tribe camps. So that's pretty much it. I'll include both of those links so you can go back and read the answers in detail. But I think that gets the highlights for you.
I think the only advantage is they get to be safe and dry.
Yeah. And it looked like that the production team did learn from that first time, and they put out cameras with extra long-lasting batteries this time in hopes of getting some good shots. But we didn't get any really good weather shots like the tree falling on a camp from last time. So given that they had them evacuated for 2 days this time, maybe it wasn't enough. So
or the cameras blew away.
Yeah, it could be. Well, they strapped them down. They were like strapping them to trees and stuff. Yeah, they could easily get knocked off or destroyed for sure in that kind of intense weather. Thanks, LeAnn. Good questions. And like I said, I include the links for both of those Propes Q&As in the show notes so you can check out the full details. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and that was amazing. Just, it makes it even better knowing that Natalie got voted out. I mean, the biggest surprise is that Allison got a confessional. Whoa, where'd that come from? But, man, I'm just so happy. Natalie, she's finally gotten her due. Don't you interrupt Jeff Probst at Tribal Council, okay? No, right? Like, even the legends, they don't interrupt Jeff. Tell me if Boston Rob ever interrupted Jeff. If Suri has ever interrupted Jeff. Johnny Fairplay has probably interrupted Jeff, but some people don't class him as a legend, so, Parvati, has she ever interrupted Jeff? I don't think so. You know better than that. You don't interrupt Jeff Probst at Tribal Council of all places, listening to the listener feedback and hearing all the Alec hate. Apparently, I'm the only one who thinks that was a good move. Because if I was a Goliath, I got switched after swap. And if I was aware pre-swap, I'd have a feeling that some stuff was about to go down. That it's not just going to be David's being voted out. There's going to be Goliath's voted out. And the numbers are going to shift from this swap. I don't know if Alec thought of it like that, but that's what I would have done. I would have started that shift in numbers, because honestly, it doesn't matter what tribe you're on. There's a lot of big egos with the Goliaths. After a while of them being together, not getting to do anything about the fact that they're stuck together, they want to pick each other off. It happens every time. Just look at token sheets. Look at Philippines. That happens every time. There's this big tribe that never loses. And sometimes it happens early as the swap. So that's why I think Alec's move was a good move. Because you kind of can see the downfall of the Goliaths coming. And you want to be on the right side of the numbers. And, you know, it sounded like Carl and Davey had a little doubt about trusting Alec after that. But Elizabeth, who some people see as a main player, I'm not really seeing it. But I'm happy that she agreed with me. She took that as an opportunity to gain a number, which is what I would have done if I was a David on that tribe. I would have been like, yeah, come over here, Alec. Let's get Kara out, because she's way bigger of a threat than you are. Obviously. I just wanted to explain myself. That's why I thought that was a good move. Sure enough, another Goliath went. And I had Natalie to go. And I was like, it's too good to be true. It's too good to be true. And then they lost. And I was like, too good to be true. It's too good to be true. And then the votes came, and I was like, that last vote is going to be Lyrsa. It's going to be Lyrsa. And then it wasn't. It was Natalie. Yes. I knew I liked Mike. He wasn't a chicken. He made that move. And then Angelina with the stupid jacket. She had a sweater on. We see her wearing this, like, sweater thing. Right? I'm not imagining this. This happened in the episode. She's wearing a sweater. Christian, he's in the BroChachos. Yeah, Christian, go buddy. And then Dan, super sneaky. If somebody looked over, all right, that was an awesome episode. Survivor didn't lose any save points. Got a vote up point. That's pretty awesome. I'm super happy. Natalie is finally gone. All right, I'll see you guys next time.
All right. Thanks, Parker. I think what you'll find when you go look at the extra videos with Alec and Mike is that they felt like they were on the bottom of that Goliath alliance. And from that perspective, taking that opportunity to move on it where they felt like they were potentially targets made sense to them from that perspective. So it was a little different than what you're thinking, I believe, Parker. At least that's my interpretation after watching those. But it was like Alec, there was some desperation on his part to differentiate himself. And he felt like he was a bit dwarfed by the big personalities, the big players on the Goliaths Alliance and tribe. Thanks, Parker. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. And first, Joanne, I wanted to say that I'm sorry about your friend. And we missed you this week, but Stacy did an admirable job of recapping the episode. Okay, let's start with Natalie. Compared to Natalia's angry Ulster the week before. Natalie sailed out of tribal council. Serene is an African queen. Her tanks of napalm may have been filled to the brim, but at least her jacket was keeping her warm. Now, for what we saw of her,
good. I liked
she
that.
probably was Goliath strong, but she wasn't a team player. And even at the end, she left on her own terms. As to her blind side, it was similar to the previous tribal council when a Goliath member betrayed his own to get rid of a player he found irritating. Stacy, you said somehow it was different, and I agree with you. I don't think anyone, except maybe John, really cared to work with Natalie much longer, but now that they're down to 7-7, they might start seeing things differently. I wonder how they're going to treat Alex when they do merge. I also like the way Cara talked to Alex after the tribal council. No shouting, not angry, and she remained calm. So she's playing it pretty well. I'm assuming they've got 2 more weeks before the merge. So I'm also going to assume that Tiva will win again. And so this coming week, they'll avoid tribal council. But if they do go, Gabby seems to be in the weakest position. Jabeni has 4, so a tie would go to a rock pick, right? And I don't think Mike's willing to do that. So is he going to go with the 2 Davids and vote Angelina out? Or is he going to talk Nick into joining him and Angelina in voting Larsa out? If he eliminates another Goliath, he better hope that the Davids are willing to work with him. I don't think the Goliaths would be. And over at Vuku, Alex is even in a tricky spot. He has 3 Davids to contend to, and a former ally who no longer trusts him. But we know Elizabeth doesn't trust Cara either, so Cara's got to work Davey and Carl. She wants to make it to the merge. She might be able to do that because Carl already lost a female player that he had a fatherly concern for. So come the merge, if Alex is still in the game, I don't think the Goliaths are going to trust him. As for the women's short-lived alliance, well, now we're down to 6 women and 8 men. And the bromances include Nick and Mike, Alec and Davey, Christian, John, and Dan. So I think with the women being picked off one after the other, I don't think there's going to be a female winner of Survivor this season. I'm really enjoying the season because of all the team switchings and blindsides. But in the long run, right now, I think Alex and Mike have the question marks over their head. Can't wait to see what happens and hear your comments. Thanks.
Excellent. Thanks, David. Yeah, I like the analysis of Jabini there. He's right. You know, with the 2-2, it is going to be interesting. I got to think in that scenario that Lyrsa goes because Nick was gunning for her from the beginning. So it wouldn't be hard for him to potentially go back in that direction. And then that sort of puts him and Mike on even terms. They've both gotten rid of one of their own in that regard.
True.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I don't know. I just don't. They'd be wise not to trust Angelina.
True. Yeah, and the next time on Survivor says, is Mike talking about how Angelina would get him? And so it looks like Angelina's in trouble. So between Angelina and Lyrsa, everyone who matches up with Lyrsa loses. So I guess that tells you, go with Angelina going in that scenario. Thanks, David. Good stuff. Next up, we got an email from Ed in Milwaukee.
Joanne and Stacy, a few brief observations. This is at least the second time that Survivor has chosen to film in Fiji during typhoon season.
Actually, they always film in typhoon season. It's just whether or not they hit.
Yeah. I do not believe this is a wise move, and I don't feel this makes for good TV.
I agree with
Having
you.
to evacuate camp disrupts the game. I also wonder if continuing to film the show at the same place has impacts on the site. I understand that filming in one location, such as Fiji, has economical advantages, but is there enough time between seasons for new coconuts to grow and for the jungle to regenerate itself?
It's about, what is it, maybe 9 months between each one because they go back to back.
Yeah, it's like back to back.
The other thing
within a
is that
couple weeks,
Fiji's
and
not
then
like 1 or 2 islands. I think Fiji, what was it? We looked at it, or someone looked it up before. It's like, it's thousands of islands. So there's lots of locations to choose from, I think.
Some people may feel that Mike White made a bad move by voting Natalie out of the game instead of keeping her to keep the tribe strong. But unlike Alec voting off Natalia, I can see the rationale of Mike's move. Natalie has pledged loyalty to Goliath, but keeping a weaker tribe member who has no chance of winning in the game in order to use that person as a goat is usually an effective strategy, but when that person is toxic, the strategy can backfire. Boston Rob was able to control Philip, but toxic players such as Abby Normal not only blow up in their own game, but they also damage the games of their allies.
Yep.
That's very true. Joanne and Stacy, I truly appreciate the work that you do in providing this podcast. And in spite of my differences with Stacy on Quitters, I look forward to your show every week. All right. Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. One of the things that I learned, I grew up in a small town in Georgia, very isolated, but very fortunate, and I got some help, and I was able to go to Georgia Tech, where I got my first huge dose of diversity and how important that can be, especially in problem solving and working together on a team, and then later in a huge corporation, and got that further reinforced and got to live it day to day in work. So I always cultivate diverse opinions, so I appreciate that, Ed. That said, I would like to suggest that you go look at B's day after video.
Here we go.
Because B says it took her, 2 days, 3 days to fully recover. And she says, while I couldn't do that in the game, I'm doing great now.
Well, in her day after video, she wasn't even wearing a bandage. That's
the first thing that caught my eye. I'm like, wait a second. There's no brace. There's no bandage. What's going on? And then she goes on to say, yeah, and I'm fine now. It just took a couple days.
But she didn't want to. She said it was okay, but that she didn't want it was not a tear. She knew it wasn't a tear, but she didn't want it to continue and get a tear.
Because she couldn't have somehow given herself a break. Yeah. Anyway, Ed, you backed the wrong horse on that one, buddy, although you had some good logic backing up your thoughts.
Okay, enough, you guys.
Next up, we got a call from Jody.
Hi, Survivor family. It's Jody calling from Woodford. I'm on the way to a sewing, crafty retreat thingy at Perseverance Dam, and I've no idea if I'm going to have any privacy / internet access out there. So I'm just going to throw down my feedback while I get my coffee fix on my way out. I'm kind of celebrating. I felt super amazing, bold Stacy this week because I too had Lersa safe, and I had Natalie to go, and I had Gabby safe. Yes. I felt like I was really walking the wire, and super happy it paid off. Done. That was some crazy storm action. I can't believe how flattened those camps were when they got back, and that would have been a really interesting experience, that lockdown for 2 days with Natalie. Like, what would that have been like? Her feedback with Rob Sestino, made her seem like not a crazy lunatic, egotistical maniac, forceful, scary woman, but I think living with her in the rain under those conditions, to borrow one of your phrases, Stacey, the tax was just too high. Anyway, that's my first vote off points for the season, so I'm super happy. So do you think that Christian was right on to Hot Cop? Because when Hot Cop goes off to search for the idol, they zoom in on him off to the right there, peeking over the bushes, and I think he's awake and watching Hot Cop. And I wanted to say it was so great to hear so many new contributors to the podcast. Welcome! And Haley, you so do have a cute little accent. You just don't know about it. Okay, everybody, I'm so glad that there's no village shepherding the way to the final this season. That is really refreshing, and I can't wait to see what happens next. People just seem to be super happy to, early, which is stupid, to break alliances and just go rogue, and I'm loving it. Okay, bye.
All right. Thanks, Jody. Thanks for getting that in before your retreat there, which sounds fun. Next up, Jill's back. We got a call from Jill in the Outback.
Hey, Joanne and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. Jill from the Outback here. First time for feedback this season for me. Sorry about that. It's just been really, really busy. We're affected quite badly by a drought in my area at the moment. And watching all that rain on Survivor is making me a little bit jealous. I'm really enjoying this season, and I think it's one of the best ones in recent years that I can remember anyway. I tend to like most of the people on it, and I think the theme's a good one. but they're not harping on it like they do a lot of times. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that is glad that Natalie is gone. The way that she just barks orders at people, it's not the way to win friends. I think, you can get away with that if you're paying people and they work for you. That's when you can tell them what to do, but not on Survivor. She obviously got the island and her office mixed up. I love the way that Nick handled the whole jacket incident, and that he wasn't going to put up with the bullying. He wasn't going to take that from her. Good on him. And that bit at the end where Angelina was asking Natalie for the jacket as she was leaving tribal council, I actually laughed out loud. There must have been some storm for them to evacuate them all off their camps. I was wondering how that would affect. They must have structures already built for the challenges. I wonder if any of them got damaged and if they had to quickly rebuild a few of them for the rest of the game. I'm really enjoying the BroChachos, Christian and John in particular. Didn't think I was going to like John at the start, but he's funny. He's really entertaining to watch. And he doesn't seem to be as worried about what Survivor's going to do to his body for his athletic career. Because he does still wrestle now, isn't he? It's not as though he's a past wrestler. No idea what's going to be happening for the next few episodes. But it's really interesting that the numbers have evened up between the David and Goliaths now. That's going to be really cool if it keeps like that coming into a merge. That'll do me for now. Thanks so much for the podcast, Joanne and Stacey. You love it. I hope your friend's feeling better, Joanne. And I look forward to listening to everyone's feedback. Happy days, everyone. Bye.
All right. Great to have your voice back on the show, Jill. Thank you. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanna and Stacey, that was quite an episode, from Mother Nature being the true Goliath to 2 exciting challenges to Natalie's eggs aspirating behavior. To Jacket Gate, there was plenty to hold our interest. Here's hoping that the rest of the season stays strong. I'm with you. I just had I was putting the show together and I had a bad feeling. I'm like, yeah, they're right. Everybody's right. The season is really good. I hope it does not disappoint.
So you're already dreading. What if it doesn't stay this good?
I'm not going to go negative. I had that. It was a moment. Okay.
You had a fear.
Back to Josh, yes. This week's observations. I think Mother Nature is getting the winners at it. Yeah, that's good. Definitely. Tiva's original shelter was as sturdy as Rupert's design in All-Stars. That is a fantastic comparison. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Oh, what a horrible shelter where he dug deep and then got flooded. Oh, Jeff didn't want anyone to be jealous of Pat, so he evac'd the whole tribe. Maybe it's because John is a wrestler, but every time I hear Jabini, my mind substitutes Jabroni if you smell what the moose is cooking. Given how well Vuku's shelter survived the cyclone, I'd hire Pat as a contractor. Yeah, definitely. Elizabeth was in 4-H as a kid. I wonder if this is her first rodeo with chickens. Natalie can make fire? Who knew? I thought she just lit fires under people. Natalie should have known better than to put all her eggs in one boiling basket. Dan, John, and Christian are the BroChachos. Which one is Teddy Roosevelt? Artie Johnson would say that Christian spying on Dan was very interesting. Dan got a clue. I wonder if SWAT tactical training covers grabbing hidden idols. John and Christian were like a wrestling tag team in the challenge. Christian even made a hot tag to win the immunity. Angelina is cold. Yes, she certainly is. Yeah. Natalie's idea of gentle persuasion played out like a bully in a china shop. Angelina ponders the big questions. Who can she trust? Can she get a jacket? Jeff says Natalie has to have the last word. Her last word to Angelina was no. Some folks would give you the shirt off their backs. Angelina wants their jackets. In the real world, economics is about guns and butter, but on Survivor, it's about jackets and eggs. In the visual dictionary, Entitled shows a picture of Angelina asking Natalie for her jacket as Natalie's torch is snuffed. Next time, Elizabeth hates stupid people and Doc Purple wants to vote out Dan. Will he be swatted from the game with 2 idols in his pocket? We can only hope. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna and Stacey, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thank you, Josh. Good job, brother. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. Well, it happened again. The Goliaths are just imploding on each other. And I'm just going to borrow a phrase from our favorite annoying postal worker, Dan, from Survivor, I think it was Worlds Apart. The Goliaths seem unable to do basic math. Or maybe they just don't care, because, you know, in a numbers game, who needs numbers this early on? But seriously, on the surface, it looks like a dumb move for Mike and Angelina to get rid of Natalie when she's a potential number for them. But on the surface, where it would seem to be a smart move to keep Goliath strong, I think if the tribal swap had been a swap into 2 tribes again instead of 3, that conventional wisdom might hold true. Goliaths stick with the Goliaths, and the Davids stick with the Davids, I guess. But you know, the last 2 weeks, I've really been pondering just how relevant the original David and the original Goliath tribes are at this point. When the group is split up into 3 tribes with such small numbers, it's really hard to stay loyal to another when you are just simply trying to stay alive in the game. And when you're 1 out of 5, I think there are going to be a lot more feelings of desperation than if each castaway were transferred to a new group of, I guess it would be 8. And each castaway would have more than just 1 or 2 allies on their tribe. They'd have up to like maybe 6. So there would be more security in terms of having numbers on your side. But I think with these smaller tribes, the question becomes, do I put my faith in these new kind of unknown quantities on my new tribe? Or do I trust that my allies who are now on other tribes are going to stay loyal to me? And I think since the survivors don't know how many days they will be with their new tribes before being reunited with their old tribe members at a merge or another swap, the temptation to build new alliances with these new people is a very strong temptation. And I think that's why we have seen Natalia and Natalie be voted out of their tribes, because I think that those players, Mike and Alec, they've obviously chosen to go with their newly formed bonds rather than stick with their previous bonds, which obviously they feel those weren't so strong. Well, that's it for me. I'm standing here on a street corner with the background noise being really distracting to me and probably to everybody else too. It's what I get for saving my feedback to the last minute. Joanne, my thoughts are with you and your friend, and I can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Jen.
That's an interesting point about the dynamics and the pressures that you get with 3 tribes versus 2. I don't think I'd ever thought about it that deeply. I enjoyed that. Thanks for that analysis, Jen. Yeah, it does seem like it would tend to push you more, like the recency bias of the smaller tribes would end up being an overriding factor. Of course, it's different with every personality, but yeah, I like thinking about that. Good one. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here, and the thing I really want to say most is poor Lyrsa. After performing well in the challenge and making up lost time, she still got called out around her tribe as a weak player, rather than being the weakest player. And you know, to me there's a difference. I guess it's true though. The nail that stands out gets hammered the most. Luckily for Lyrsa though, Natalie was on the scene and making and drawing fire. And even more luckily, Mike was willing to hearken to his heart and soul. You know what though? My curse took on my second attempt because yep, I had Natalie safe this week. And I don't regret the point loss at all. So, did you see those jaws drop when everyone learned that Natalia was voted off? In the next episode, Jeff will reveal that Natalie has left the game, and well, I can just see everyone clapping and cheering and laughing through tears of joy even. It'll be a feel-good moment, you know? I do admire the fact that Natalie didn't throw Angelina under the bus when she was explaining about the jackets. But by that point in time, I think you could say that her egg was cooked. And I believe that the most important thing that Natalie took away from her time on Survivor is that she was right and everyone else was wrong. Because, you know, she's just that tuned in on a social level. But am I the only one who was amazed that Natalie made fire on camera all by herself? Or did she? I find it hard to believe that she'd have been the one to gather the materials, so I think we missed a few orders being barked out over that megaphone that she calls a mouth. Oh, you know, I wasn't going to say that, but too late, it's out there now. But what amazed me most was how that flame started instantly. I mean, what kind of a starter was on that kindling? Because that flame jumped so high and fast, I thought I was watching one of the witches on American Horror Story, summon a demon. Well, Natalie was already there, so it probably wasn't a demon, but, well, something. And you know what? I didn't even think to look to see if there was anything left of Natalie's eyebrows. I guess that's another one from my regrets folder. And say what you will about Dan, but he's doing pretty Dan good with his idol hunting. And you know, he may become a player after all. He was driving me crazy, though, when everyone was riveted on watching the ball balancing part of the challenge, and, well, Dan was standing there watching as well. I was worried that he was too caught up in everything to actually get the idol, but down his drawers it finally went, which makes me wonder. That is the way that idols are usually snuck around on the island. So how does Jeff brace himself to handle these idols to examine them when he authenticates them at Tribal? I'm going to start looking for a bottle of hand sanitizer off to his side. Now, I do want to say that although she wasn't featured too prominently, Elizabeth is the person that I most misjudged. All I could see was her cowboy hat in her picture, and yeah, it threw me way off course with her. After Angelina's jacket incident, I'm thinking that I'm jumping ship and headed on to the Elizabeth for the Win yacht. You know, I'm really loving her, and I have to say that she's my favorite player right now. So this week, Alec lucked out and his tribe won, and that's the only reason he's still in the game. I really figured he would go next. And with the Davids catching up, I'm guessing that yet another Goliath bites it. I just can't decide who, so help me out on this one. Thanks a lot. Take care, everyone, and bye.
Hey, Paul, definitely check out the Elizabeth extra video there. It'll warm your heart even more. She's talking about how much she's looking forward to having her daughters see her sink that basket in the challenge, and it was really good. Enjoyed that a lot. Okay, so we got to help Paul. Which Goliath is going next? You got interesting possibilities on every tribe, and that's how the next time on Survivor set it up. It's like, here's one for Vuku, here's one for Tiva, here's one for Jabini. Although the Vuku one was making it like it was between Elizabeth and Davy. That seems a little hard to believe. I'm willing to bet she'll put her differences aside to keep some strong numbers going. So who do you think, Alec or Kara on Vuku?
My vote would be for Kara.
Yeah.
Under those circumstances, unless the person she's really mad at is Alec saying or doing something stupid.
Right.
I'm not sure that she would turn on Davy or Carl.
Yeah, I think that's a red herring.
See. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So I'm right now, from what we've seen, I would say she would vote Kara.
Okay.
Or that they all would.
On Tiva,
unless they get mad at her and vote
yeah,
her.
I got Dan. I got double Dan going on Tiva. I think you're going to unite to get rid of those idols. Just too dangerous. Into the BroChachos.
Well,
it's easy to think Gabby too.
I don't know if Allison has that kind of clout.
Is she that sincere? Well, John's willing to work with and enjoying Christian and Gabby. Allison's making some kind of connection with Gabby, and Gabby's desperate for a connection and an ally.
Even though I've believed that, and Allison has confirmed that she's in alliance with John, etc., I could easily see her going.
Allison?
Yeah.
Well, and there's really something to that, to your point, because she got a confessional this episode after us not getting to really see her. So to have her go in the next one is a well-known editing pattern. Right, show them a little, and then you're gonna highlight their story in the episode that they go, so you get to see you're having some connection with Gabby, and then.
I think the guys really are kind of tight. I mean, at some point, John might want to turn on Dan or something, but anyway, I kind of think that they are tight, and that Allison's really smart, and she does have more connections on the other side. So if they feel that comfortable with Christian and Gabby, why not get rid of her?
But Dan doesn't feel comfortable with Gabby. He feels more comfortable with Allison.
Well, true, but John and Christian could change his mind.
Sure. Okay.
I
don't know that we're helping Paul here. But,
anyway, that's
what about the big tie at Jabini? How's that going to work out? How are they going to break that tie?
That's a tougher one for me. I would absolutely take Angelina out. But if they really want to keep the tribe strong, which I don't think will be a problem because they're going to merge soon. So I would again, Angelina is a really smart player. I would get rid of her because you don't know where she's going to go.
She's the most dangerous one there from what we've been shown. Right?
Lyrsa, I think they can see is more loyal. And I think she really genuinely is. She said she is. She's very loyal. And Angelina would cut any of their throats in a heartbeat. And I think they know that. So
Well, I think
Angelina
Jacket
would
Gate
be
really
my
brought that home. Yeah.
Yeah. So those would be my picks: Angelina, Allison, and probably Kara.
Yeah.
I could change my mind. That's just right now where I'm looking.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards Alec.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's different. That I think Alec could goof his own game up really
That's true.
easily. Like it's just not. It's trivial for him to completely derail himself.
That would be no big surprise.
Yeah.
And they do need to start thinking about the merge and stronger players, et cetera, et cetera. But also, they haven't been doing that as much. Good players, they're targeting more than just strong.
Maybe that's why Elizabeth's angry with Davy. I guess it's Davy or Carl. We see her and Davy talking, and then she's talking about being angry, but she could be angry with Carl, too. Because Carl wants Kara instead of Alec.
No. Oh, you mean to stay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
That she wants to take Kara out, and he wants Alec to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and she's saying that's stupid. That would make perfect sense to me. But now we're just playing a guessing game,
So who's going to lose at the immunity challenge? You got to think
who knows what it is.
Jabini's is most likely to lose. Yeah, they do okay, but it's just when you look at the other competitors, there's a big gap between Jabini and Tiva and Vuku. Tiva and Vuku more similar is what I'm saying, more even. Jabini's a lot
I think
less.
Nick and Angelina are their stronger physical players in that setting, but Lyrsa's carried her weight. I don't know about
she's
Mike,
done better.
but-
Yeah, Mike did good in the challenge this week.
So they could.
Nick
It
and
just depends on
Angelina
what
could
it
do
is.
well with a puzzle. The question is, if it's an ends with a puzzle immunity challenge between Alec, Carl, Davy, Elizabeth, and Kara, do they really have a puzzle solver there? Elizabeth's pretty sharp. I think Kara is too, actually. I definitely misjudged Kara at the beginning in regards to that. She's more than just a pretty smile. Yeah, they might lose to a puzzle, so Vuku could go if it comes down to a puzzle. Angelina and Nick could, and Mike's obviously pretty sharp too. I don't think Lyrsa's good with the puzzle things.
Yeah, they hadn't had too many
So I guess
puzzles lately.
ends with a puzzle, then Jabini could come out with a win, like a second place or something. All right, I don't think we helped Paul.
I think we'll do this all week. Sorry, Paul.
Oh, we want to thank everybody who took the time to share your thoughts and predictions with us this week. That was great. Again, fantastic listener feedback show. You guys do such a good job. We love hearing how you felt about the episode and how you think the season's progressing. We're of similar minds, obviously. I want to say a big thanks to Hazel and Emily for your subscription donations. Thank you so much for that and helping with our operating costs. We deeply appreciate that.
And don't forget, if you play JSFL, get your picks in by 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Those are hard deadlines.
And you're going to include the link to the Probst interview, right?
Yeah, there's, like I said, a couple of them about evac, so you can go read the details. And the other thing that KimJ mentioned, I'll make sure to. I've included that link before too, because I think it's really unfortunate that all the clips aren't there for everyone. But
So when you go to the website, just click on Read More.
yep, and you'll see the full show notes for that episode, and you'll see all the links. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think we covered it.
Looking forward to
Or they
episode. Yeah, they did. Did a really good job too. Thanks for the entertaining and the insights. Lots to ruminate on as we head into week 6, episode 6 here, season 37, Survivor David versus Goliath. And I wanted to mention this too. I too am glad they're not beating us over the head with the theme too much. So I like it better when they let it speak for itself. That plays much better with me.
And thanks for all your good thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Have a good one.
Natalie, is there any way I could have your jacket? Natalie? 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 Nothing.
Is it worth $1 million?
Guess not.